Well, it's summertime. It's this time of year when all the owners' clubs in the country get together to do their sunny runs through the country lanes of Britain, and the Fiat Club is no exception. Today we're in Lyndhurst. We're with David Johnson, who's the president of the Fiat 500 Club, and you're running something called the Sunshine Tour. Well, David, what's the Sunshine Tour all about?
Okay, well, it's a chance for Fiat owners, Fiat 500 owners, to bring their cars down to Bournemouth and to Lyndhurst and have a little drive through the forest, have some fun, get their cars seen, and just have a lovely day in the sunshine.
Are you doing anything for fundraising for any charities or not?
Not this time, though. We consider it in the future. The sort of thing we'd like to do is actually get some sponsor for charity. Would be nice.
I was thinking the famous Italian run where the Mini Owners Club recreate the Italian run and go all the way down to Italy and raise money for children's homes on the way, which is a nice idea. But obviously you've got beautiful weather for this, and obviously you were telling me before about the reason why it's called the Sunshine Tour.
Oh yes, a lot of the events around above London I always consider like the north of England, and what happens is that it's always raining. So I said, well, why don't you guys come down and see it's always sunny in Bournemouth, always sunny on the south coast. So hopefully, as you can see, the sun will be with us and have a great time.
Well, you've got quite a lot of 500s here already. How many have you actually got in the UK that are members?
Okay, we've got about 500 paid-up members at any one time. Some people are joining all the time. We visit many shows, the NEC being recently, and we tend to sign up some people who have either recently got their cars or would like their cars and or would like to get cars, and they can sign up and hopefully buy one through the club.
Obviously, it's quite an unusual little car, so why do people actually choose the 500? Is it because it's easy to get parts for, or is it just because of the appeal of it? It looks quite a cute little car.
Yeah, it's easy to get the parts, there's no problem in sourcing that. They made 3.5 million of them in Italy, so it's not a problem. You can get more or less what you want, and for not too expensive. The body panels are quite reasonably priced. So
you're not talking like Aston Martin money for these parts?
No. Maybe if you start doing a bit of tuning, it gets a little bit more expensive than a Volkswagen, but it's fine. It's not too bad at all.
Well, I think now we'll have a closer look at some of the cars. Well, this is Janet Westcott, who's got one of the oldest Fiat 500s here today. Now, Janet, this one has obviously got a full sunshine roof, and it's also got these amazing things called suicide doors. What's the story behind these?
This is how the Fiat 500s were first made, with suicide doors, and then in the 1970s they decided they weren't safe, so they brought in the L with the proper doors, and the F had the proper doors.
And how long have you owned this particular one?
About 6-7 years.
So when you actually bought it, did you have to do a lot of work to it to get it back up to this sort of standard?
We didn't. Friends who run a garage did it for us, and it was an absolute wreck. And I couldn't believe it could turn out so nice as it has done.
Well, this is Ashley Shute, who's yet another member of the Fiat 500 Owners Club. Well, Ashley, what attracted you to the 500 in the first place?
It was a small air-cooled car. We'd had Volkswagens for a few decades. We liked air-cooled cars, but we felt that now we were retired, something smaller would be adequate, and the 500 was the best choice.
So obviously there's quite a couple of good advantages to having a car that's fairly old, because you don't have to pay any road tax for a start, which has got to be a good idea for one. But how long have you actually owned this particular model behind you?
Well, my wife's owned it for about 5 years. We came across it just by coincidence, and once we joined the 500 Club, we've had a lot of fun with it.
Looking inside, it's a fairly basic car, though, isn't it? It's very nice and simple, I should think, to work on. So if you have a look at the driver's side, you can see the The sort of steering column is
That's right, everything's
very plasticky. That's the
very-
horn button in the front. It's not exactly over-endowed with the number of dials and needles you normally see in such a car, but it's nice to have the dashboard in metal, isn't it? Because that makes life a bit easier. Have you had any problems with it otherwise? Is it a good runner?
Oh, it is, yeah. It's been to the south of France and back. It's going to Italy this year to celebrate the 40th anniversary of the car. I'm not expecting any real problems. It gets a little hot, but nothing.
And what about the gearbox? Is that a 4-speed or a 3?
4-speed. 4-speed.
Right, okay. And what other sort of things, obviously you've got the sunroof here, what are the main differences between the other models? Do they all have sunroofs, or is this a special option? Or
More or less, everyone you'll see will have a sunroof. They did do one model without, but a sunroof in this case being an F. This is an F, and it has a smaller sunroof. Some of the other cars that are here today have the what we call full rollback sunroof, which you'll see, and also the doors on this one open in the traditional manner, as opposed to some of the early cars that open the other way.
Right, and how many of these did you say were produced? You said something like 3 million?
About 3.5 million, we believe, were actually produced in Italy through since would have been 1957.
So what was the actual last year production then?
About 73, 72. They made the estate car Giardinera a little after that, but the 126 sort of took its place.